Hi, Year 14. Today we are going to continue on with our electrode potentials topic, and we are going to consider a standard hydrogen electrode. Now we're turning in our notes to page 16, and right up at the top of the page we're told we cannot measure the potential difference of an isolated half cell. So we have got to take the half cell that we are concerned with. We've got to join it to this standard hydrogen electrode so that we can get a reading for the standard electrode potential. Now, on the screen now, we've got the electrochemical series, and it's just a reminder from last day. The standard electrode potential is the potential difference measured when any half cell is connected to the standard hydrogen electrode under standard conditions. And we talked a bit about these electrode potentials last day. Now we've added on the word standard, and as you would suspect, it just means that it's got to be measured under standard conditions. But we'll talk more about that in another lesson. Today we're going to consider exactly what makes up this standard hydrogen half cell. Now, in your notes on page 16, you have got a little box, and you can see you've got the subtitle, the standard hydrogen half cell. Now, we are going to draw in this standard hydrogen half cell, and we are going to add some labels. So pause the video as you need to, but draw exactly what you see on the screen into the box. Now, we're going to add a few labels, like I said. And the first label that I would like you to add in is for the platinum electrode. So add in the label for the platinum electrode. Now that platinum electrode is dipped in an acid solution containing 1 molar concentration of hydrogen ions. Now into this glass tube we would pump hydrogen under standard conditions. So this is at 298 Kelvin and 100 kilopascals of pressure. Now you'll notice that there are little holes in this glass tube, and these little holes are to allow the bubbles of hydrogen gas to escape. Now we would connect this hydrogen half cell using this salt bridge to whatever half cell that we want to measure, and we would complete the circuit by connecting it to a voltmeter. So all these labels are really important. Now just below your box you've got standard conditions listed, and we've written them in the labels as well anyway. Now it's important to highlight that third bullet point. The inner platinum electrode allows electrons to pass in or out of the half cell via this connecting wire. So it's really important that we remember the purpose of this platinum electrode. So like I said, we would connect any half cell that we want to get a value for the standard electrode potential for to this standard hydrogen electrode or standard hydrogen half cell. Standard hydrogen half cell, there are a few extra things that we are going to write in. Now, if we're measuring all our other half cells against it, it makes sense that we set its standard electrode potential as 0.00 volts. And it would be useful to write that in beside the diagram. Now, down below the diagram, we've got a little bit of space at the bottom of page 16, and we are going to add in these little extra bits of information. Now, we've not mentioned the cell notation before. And the cell notation is really a shorthand way to write out this standard hydrogen electrode. So we have got this platinum electrode, and the state symbol is important, it's a solid. Then we have got this little line, and this little line indicates a phase boundary. And all that means is that we're changing phase or changing state. So surrounding that platinum electrode, we will have H2 hydrogen gas. Then we have another phase boundary, and we have got this hydrogen gas and a solution of H plus ions. So we will be doing more of these cell notations, but this is the first one that we have came to. So like I said, we need to write that in at the bottom of page 16. Now the half reaction for the standard hydrogen electrode is important. In this standard hydrogen electrode, we're writing the half reaction as a reduction. So H plus ions are gaining electrons to form hydrogen gas, and that's the hydrogen gas that escapes through the little holes in the glass tube. Now it's important to remember to pop in those state symbols. Now folks, we can be asked to label this standard hydrogen electrode, or we could be asked to draw it, and we can certainly be asked for the cell notation or the half equation or the half reaction. So all these are important to get correct in your notes. Now, like I said before, this is all operating under standard conditions, and they are all listed for you there on page 16, but it's important to remember them. Now, this cell always forms the left-hand side, and I mean the left-hand side of the electrochemical cells. Other metals or other half cells will be connected to this, and that's how we measure, like I've said before, their standard electrode potential. Now, if we consider what other types of half cell we might want to connect to this standard hydrogen electrode so that we can measure the standard electrode potential. So any half reaction can be used to create a half cell. So for example, at the top of page 17, we've got this example, and this is the one that we're probably most used to. It's the one that we have been talking about the most. So we have got an example of a solid metal dipped into a solution of the metal ions. And remember, it's under standard conditions, so this solution of metal ions will always be 1 molar. Now that's the most common one. And we're going to write onto the lines then that the metal is immersed in a solution of its ions. And this could be connected to the standard hydrogen electrode so that we can get a value for the standard electrode potential for this half reaction or this half cell. Now, there are lots of possible combinations of half cell. If we look at the next one. Now here we have got a half reaction containing 2 iron ions. So if we wanted to connect and measure the standard electrode potential for this half cell, what we would need to have then would we need to have an electrode, and generally platinum is picked because it's inert. Then we will have a solution, and this solution will contain equal concentrations of each ion. So if the half reaction doesn't contain a solid metal in its elemental state, we've got to pop in an inert electrode, because remember, we need the inert electrode to allow the electrons to pass. So we're going to write the notes into the lines then again on page 17. So here's another possible half cell. Now our third type of half cell then is where we have a gas and we have a solution of ions, and it's a bit like the hydrogen half cell. So if we consider the example for chlorine gas and a solution of chloride ions, we've got our glass tube with the little holes to allow the bubbles of gas to escape, and we've got our platinum electrode. And remember, it's really important always to have an electrode. The chlorine gas is pumped in at 1 atmosphere of pressure, and we have got our solution of chloride ions, and the chlorine gas can escape through the little holes. Now we're going to write into our notes, if a gas is involved, it must be bubbled through the solution in such a way that it is in contact with the electrode.